Good morning. Today is October 6th, and our target for the day is I can categorize organisms based on characteristics. So we started doing this last week when we started classifying and focusing on the physical characteristics. Now we're going to look at the characteristics of an organism today and then determine what kingdom it belongs to is the major to-do. So first, you want to start with your mind stretcher, which is in Canvas. And then there's a discussion board where you will create a mnemonic for the levels of classification. And we'll spend 10 minutes on that in class. And then the last to do is classifying sea cucumbers, kingdom justification. And that's where we will look at the characteristics and compare the characteristics of the sea cucumber to a kingdom and domain table of characteristics to determine which kingdom it belongs to, and then justify that placement based on evidence. So today's mind stretcher has you looking and interpreting a table, and you'll see on Thursday that using data tables and reading data tables is common in quizzes and very common in science and other subjects. So the mind stretcher asks, what is the broadest or largest category of classification? And so you would use the data table. And when they say broadest, they mean most diverse, has the most organisms in it. And then which phylum are humans in? And so you would read the headings and look at the pictures and then play like, what's the game where you blow up the ships, where you go across and down, use coordinate graphing, to use a math term, to figure out which phylum humans are in. Then, the next thing in the discussion board, you'll create a mnemonic. A mnemonic is just a fancy word for a memory device. So last week in the Amoeba Sisters video, and you did a 3-2-1 summary on it, you learned the levels of classification, which is in the first column. These are the scientific terms, and they're in a very specific order. And they start with the largest category, moving all the way down to a single organism. So the order is important here. So in science, to remember, this is what I used since 7th grade middle school to remember the order. Ditzy Cathy poured chocolate on Father's good shirt. And notice I used the first letter, that's why I made them in blue. And I made a sentence to help remind me the order of the levels of classification. So that's your mission today, is to make up a silly sentence that you can remember. And my 7th grade years were quite a while ago, and I still use this to today to remember the order of these levels. So you will come up with your own sentence and you will post it in the discussion board as a response. Okay, and then we'll move on to the major project today, the sea cucumber. It's quite an unusual looking organism, and even giving it its name. Is it a plant? Is it an animal? Is it a protist? Is it a fungi? Just what is the sea cucumber? And so in keeping with our target today about categorizing organisms based on characteristics, we're going to look at the physical features today. And physical features in biology are also called anatomical features. Anatomy, you may have heard of. And so we are going to watch this video on comparative anatomy to get an overview of the 4 kingdoms and how scientists use these traits. So we started last week with the Amoeba Sisters talking about classification. And so now today we're focusing in on even a smaller part and looking at comparative anatomy and the 4 kingdoms, because that's what we're going to do, is figure out what kingdom the sea cucumber belongs to. So once we have the general overview, Then let's see this character and what it does. So we're going to watch this short video of a sea cucumber in action. Okay? And so here's where our mission comes in. As you watch it, look at the sea cucumber. What behaviors do you notice? How is it moving? What is it doing? Look and observe it. And so your mission is to examine different specimens of the sea cucumber, and you're going to prepare a document. And you're writing that document to the National Marine Biologist Society. And in your first sentence, you're going to state which kingdom you think the sea cucumber belongs to. And then you're going to support your position with at least 3 pieces of evidence. And the evidence is right up here in our target, characteristics. So then you'll watch and see how weird the sea cucumber is. Then what I would advise, and in Canvas, go to Google and do a Google image search and see how different and various the sea cucumber is. Okay, and here's the key characteristics. So once you've made your observations, you've seen it, and then you're going to look at this table and compare it to the different traits. Was it heterotrophic? Was it autotrophic? How did it get its nutrition? Is it unicellular or multicellular? Cell structure, you can't really look and see, but you could Google that and see. And then cell type, is it prokaryote or eukaryote? And if you remember from 6th grade and from last week, prokaryotic cells have no nucleus. Eukaryotic cells do have a nucleus. So you may want to look and see, what does the cell of a sea cucumber look like? So this is where you're going to pull your evidence from. And then here's the sentence frame you'll use. The sea cucumber belongs to blank kingdom. The 3 pieces of evidence that back this claim are, and you just list those characteristics from the kingdom that back up your claim. And that's today's lesson.